My friend, if you have ever gazed upon the lives of those who seem to achieve the impossible, the ones who command immense fortunes, build empires, or leave an indelible mark upon the soul of humanity, and if you have ever, even for a fleeting moment, felt a whisper of doubt about your own capacity to reach such heights, then this message is for you. You may feel, as many do, that success is a lottery, a game rigged for the few, or a gift bestowed upon those born under a luckier star. But I stand before you today, having spent a lifetime in the quiet study of more than 500 of this nation's most prominent figures, to tell you a truth that will forever change your perception. The difference between those who achieve monumental success and those who merely dream of it is not found in their birthright, nor in their education, nor even in the sheer force of their circumstances. The true fundamental difference lies within. It resides in the silent, sacred workshop of their own minds, in the deliberate cultivation of their thoughts, and in the unwavering application of certain immutable laws. Today, we shall embark on a journey through the lives of those who mastered these laws, ordinary men and women who, armed with nothing but an idea and an indomitable spirit, transcended all limitations and carved their names into the very fabric of history. Their stories are not just tales of bygone eras. They are living blueprints, eternal testaments to the power that slumbers within you. Consider, if you will, the early days of the automobile, a concept that was, in its infancy, a mere curiosity, a noisy, sputtering contraption. Many brilliant minds toiled in this nascent field, but one name stands above them all, a name synonymous with mass production and democratic prosperity: Henry Ford. Most remember him for the Model T or the assembly line. Yet the true secret of Ford's unparalleled success, the very wellspring from which his empire flowed, began not with steel or machinery, but with an unwavering conviction, a single, burning desire that took complete possession of his mind. He envisioned a motor, a V8, with all 8 cylinders cast in a single block. This was a radical idea for his time, a feat of engineering considered impossible by the brightest minds in the field. Every engineer, every expert, laid out the intricate reasons why such a thing could not be done. The metallurgy, the casting process, the very laws of mechanics, they argued, rendered his vision an unachievable dream. A lesser man, one tethered to the perceived limits of common sense or the pronouncements of experts, would have abandoned his pursuit, labeling it a foolish fancy. But Henry Ford possessed a different kind of common sense, a higher wisdom that understood that the only true limitations are those that we accept within our own minds. He did not engage in lengthy debates, he did not argue, he simply issued a command with the quiet conviction of absolute certainty: produce it anyway. Months turned into a year. The engineers labored, they drafted, they tested, they failed, and they returned to him repeatedly with the same unwavering verdict: it cannot be done. More months passed. They exhausted every conceivable approach, only to meet a seemingly impenetrable wall of impossibility. Yet Ford's command remained unchanged. Go on, he would simply say. I want it, and I will have it. He did not know how it would be achieved. He only knew that it would be achieved. Do you grasp the profound power inherent in that singular belief? His faith, you see, was not placed in any specific plan, for every plan conceived thus far had met with failure. His faith resided in the absolute inevitability of the desired outcome itself. This, my friend, is the foundational state of mind that precedes all monumental achievement. It is a mental condition so thoroughly saturated with the white-hot intensity of a burning desire for a particular outcome that it quite literally ceases to recognize the possibility of permanent defeat. It is not a casual wish, a fleeting hope cast upon the winds of chance. A true burning desire is a force of nature, a spiritual magnet that compels the subconscious mind to find a way, that organizes and directs the very atoms of the universe to conspire in its favor. It grants its possessor a form of endurance, a resilience that appears almost superhuman to the outside observer. For over a year, Henry Ford's entire engineering team, a collective of brilliant minds, fought a losing battle. They were not merely fighting against the stubborn realities of metal and mechanics, they were fighting against an idea, a vision that had been charged with the incandescent energy of an unshakable faith and a relentless, indomitable persistence. And then, as if by a stroke of pure magic, or perhaps, as I would contend, by the immutable law of attraction, the secret was discovered. The engineers who had for so long insisted upon its impossibility had at last found the way to make it possible. What, you might ask, truly changed in that moment? Did the laws of physics bend to Ford's will? No, my friend. Ford's unyielding will, driven by its sheer, unadulterated persistence, bent the minds of his engineers, compelling them to discover a path, a solution that had been there, waiting all along. He held the vision of that V8 motor so firmly, so vividly, so obsessively in his mind that he literally compelled its physical creation. He had a definite chief aim. This, dear friend, is the first and most crucial law of success, the master key to unlocking your own dormant power. The vast, overwhelming majority of people, the 99%, drift through life without ever once making a clear, firm, and unwavering decision about what they truly desire. They are like ships without rudders, tossed about by the opinions of others, by the whims of circumstance, and by the relentless tide of daily events. They have no fixed destination. They simply have a routine. They have no grand plan. They simply have problems. They rise in the morning not because an ardent purpose impels them forward, but because the shrill alarm clock compels them to. They move through life's currents, hoping for a favorable breeze, never realizing that they possess the very sails and rudder needed to chart their own magnificent course. The successful person, in stark and striking contrast, is not a leaf in the wind. They are a guided missile, an arrow launched with unerring precision toward a single magnificent target. They possess a single dominant purpose, a definite chief aim that acts as their internal compass, filtering out all distractions, organizing their every thought, and directing their every action. This purpose gives them a reason to rise in the morning with a blazing fire in their belly, a passion that transcends mere obligation. Henry Ford did not merely want a V8 motor. The V8 motor was his definite chief aim. It was the white-hot obsession that fueled his legendary persistence. I ask you now, with all the earnestness of a man who has witnessed this truth 1,000 times, what is your V8 motor? What is the one great burning desire of your life that you would be willing to stake your entire future upon? If you cannot answer that question instantly, clearly, and with an unshakable conviction, then know this: your magnificent journey has not yet truly begun. Do not, I implore you, mistake a vague wish for a defined purpose. A wish is a fleeting shadow, a casual hope. A definite chief aim is a blueprint, a sacred oath you make to yourself and to the universe. Take a piece of paper now, not tomorrow, and write down in clear, concise, and bold language the precise answer to that question. Be audacious. Be specific. Do not permit the insidious whispers of the demon of doubt to tell you that it is impossible. In the boundless workshop of the imagination, there are no limitations. Write your purpose. Read it aloud with feeling, every morning upon waking and every night before you sleep. By doing so, you will be issuing the first, most powerful command to your subconscious mind. You will be drawing the map of your destiny. You will be declaring a war, a righteous and triumphant war against the demon of drift. The person who knows precisely what they want and why they want it transforms into a force of nature, an irresistible magnet. Opportunities that were once invisible begin to materialize. The very people you need on your journey, the allies and mentors, feel an uncanny and strange attraction to your presence. The universe itself, by an immutable spiritual law, seems to conspire to assist the person who has made a firm and unwavering decision. This is not magic, my friend. It is the infallible law that like attracts like. A mind focused with laser-like precision on a definite, positive purpose will naturally and inevitably attract the elements necessary for its grand realization. But defining a purpose, my friend, is merely the first, albeit monumental step. Once you have etched that purpose into the deepest chambers of your mind, you will inevitably find yourself face to face with the second great demon, the very one that consumed Arthur, the inventor we spoke of earlier. The demon of doubt. This demon is an internal adversary, a voice so insidious, so cunning, that it often masquerades as reason or prudence. It is the voice that will whisper to you that your goal is too grand, that you are not intelligent enough, not strong enough, not deserving enough. It will mercilessly dredge up every past failure, every perceived shortcoming, reminding you of every stumbling block. It will parade before your mind's eye the countless thousands who attempted similar feats and met with resounding failure. Doubt, my friend, is the insidious acid that dissolves the will. It is the potent poison that paralyzes action. It is the most formidable enemy of faith. And let me state this with absolute clarity. Without unshakable faith, your meticulously defined purpose is nothing more than a magnificent ship without a mighty engine, a beautiful structure destined to rot, motionless at the pier. Faith is not hope. Hope, you see, is a passive wish, a faint desire for a favorable outcome, a ship that might come in. Faith, by contrast, is the active inner certainty that you will build the ship, chart its course, navigate its storms, and sail it to any port you choose. It is the absolute unyielding conviction that what the mind of man can conceive and believe, the mind of man can achieve. It is not a naive belief that some external force or higher power will miraculously perform the work for you. It is the profound belief in your own innate capacity to direct your faculties, to harness the boundless energies of your mind, and to align the universal forces to achieve your chosen objective. And how, you may ask, does one cultivate such a powerful, unshakable faith, a faith capable of silencing the relentless whispers of the demon of doubt? It is not a quality with which one is born. It is like a magnificent oak tree, cultivated. It is built painstakingly and deliberately through the mental discipline of autosuggestion. Your mind, my friend, is a garden. If you do not consciously and deliberately plant the vibrant flowers of faith, the sturdy trees of courage, and the overflowing abundance of positive expectation, then the insidious weeds of doubt, the thorny bushes of fear, and the barren soil of poverty consciousness will grow wildly by default. The person destined for failure permits their mental garden to be sown by the random, often toxic seeds of their environment. The alarmist headlines, the cynical complaints of colleagues, the stifling skepticism of family members, the limitations imposed by societal norms. Their inner world, through this neglect, becomes a distorted, chaotic reflection of the outer world's negativity. The person of success, conversely, transforms themselves into the master gardener of their own mind. They seize conscious and absolute control of the seeding process. Every single day, through the consistent, deliberate repetition of their definite chief aim, they are actively planting the radiant seed of their ultimate goal. And each time they do so, they water that seed with the potent, vibrant emotion of faith. They close their eyes and with vivid clarity see themselves already in full possession of their objective. They feel the rush of joy, the profound gratitude, the deep, abiding satisfaction of having already achieved it. This potent, alchemical blend of a clear thought and a powerful emotion is, my friend, the only language that your magnificent subconscious mind truly understands. It is the language of creation. This practice of autosuggestion, repeated with unwavering persistence, is the head chemist of the mind, a process more profound than any chemical reaction known to man. It begins subtly at first to transform the lead of doubt into the pure gold of belief. Your subconscious mind, which by its very nature does not reason, does not debate, does not question, accepts your repeated order as an absolute, undeniable fact. And once accepted, it begins to work tirelessly, day and night, to translate that mental blueprint, that vividly imagined reality, into its undeniable physical equivalent. It will, without fail, provide you with the ingenious plans you need. It will inspire you with the exact ideas you require. It will guide you through the subtle whispers of intuition towards the precise actions that will move you closer to your goal. As you persist in this practice, you will develop a radiating confidence in yourself, a quiet certainty that will emanate from you like the warmth of the Sunday. People, sensing your unshakable conviction, will instinctively trust you, follow you, and cooperate with you. Your very self-image, that invisible governor of your achievements, will undergo a profound transformation. You will cease to see yourself as someone who hopes to succeed or wishes for success, and you will begin to perceive yourself with absolute clarity as someone who is already in the process of achieving their grand design. This, my friend, is the monumental difference. The person destined for failure needs to see in order to believe. The person of success, however, understands by a higher law that they must believe in order to see. The evidence does not create the belief. No, my friend, the belief, charged with emotion, commands the evidence to appear. So I ask you, with the deepest sincerity, what seeds are you planting in your mental garden each and every day? Are you diligently nourishing the vibrant flowers of faith, or are you, through neglect, allowing the insidious weeds of doubt and fear to grow wild? The harvest you reap tomorrow, your ultimate destiny, will depend entirely upon the quality of the seeds you sow today. Once you have begun the diligent cultivation of faith, transforming the landscape of your inner world, you will inevitably confront the third great demon, a tyrannical force that has halted the progress of more men and women than any other, the demon of the fear of failure. This demon is a relentless perfectionist, a cruel taskmaster that whispers insistently that you must not act until your plan is absolutely flawless, until every single condition is perfectly favorable, until there is not even the slightest risk of making a mistake. And because that mythical perfect moment never ever arrives, the individual paralyzed by this insidious fear never takes action. They live a life of perpetual preparation, always on the precipice of beginning, but never truly beginning. Their life, my friend, becomes a poignant library filled with unread books, a vast gallery of unexecuted plans, a silent symphony of unspoken words and unfulfilled dreams. For the mind operating under the oppressive shadow of failure consciousness, any setback, any temporary defeat, any stumble along the path is perceived as an absolute catastrophe, a final, crushing verdict. It is seen as an unequivocal sign from the universe that they are on the wrong path, a clear command to abandon their pursuit. It becomes the ultimate, undeniable proof of their inadequacy, a deep source of shame and a confirmation of their most profound insecurities. The person imbued with a success consciousness, however, has unlocked a profound secret, a truth so liberating that it acts as an impenetrable shield against this paralyzing fear. They understand with absolute clarity that there is no such thing as permanent failure. There is only and always temporary defeat. And they understand an even deeper, more empowering truth, that every single adversity, every perceived failure, every heart-wrenching setback, every moment of pain carries within its very core the seed of an equivalent or even greater benefit. Think deeply on that, my friend. Within the bitterest experience, hidden from the unseeing eye, lies a blessing, a powerful lesson, a precious nugget of wisdom. For such a mind, defeat is not a wall to be stopped by. It is a meticulously placed signpost on the road to achievement. It does not command you to stop. No, it emphatically states, wrong direction, learn the lesson, and forge a new, more powerful route. The individual of success does not perceive failure as the end. They see it as invaluable feedback. They recognize it as a profound opportunity to learn, to adapt, to strengthen their resolve, and to grow immeasurably wiser. A temporary defeat is not a summons to quit. It is an urgent command to think, to analyze, to dissect the experience, to learn its hidden lessons, and to construct a new, far superior plan. Allow me to share with you the compelling story of a man named R.U. Darby, a tale that perfectly illustrates this profound difference in mindset. Darby's uncle, swept away by the intoxicating gold fever, ventured west to stake his fortune in the unforgiving earth. After weeks of relentless labor, digging with a passion fueled by dreams of untold riches, they finally struck a vein of shining ore. With hearts pounding, they covered up their precious discovery and hurried back home to raise the necessary capital for mining machinery. The very first carload of ore shipped to a smelter confirmed their wildest hopes. They had stumbled upon one of the richest mines in all of Colorado. Drills descended with triumphant roars. Their hopes soared to the heavens. But then, with the cruel twist of fate that often tests the human spirit, something happened. The magnificent vein of gold ore simply vanished. They had, it seemed, reached the elusive end of the rainbow, and the promised pot of gold was no longer there. They drilled on, desperately, blindly, trying to pick up the elusive vein again, all to no avail. Finally, their resolve, once so strong, crumbled. They made the agonizing decision to quit. They sold their valuable mining machinery to a junk man for a paltry few $100s, a mere fraction of its worth, and, defeated and disheartened, took the train back home. The junkman, however, was a man of a profoundly different mental caliber. He did not see worthless machinery or a depleted mine. He called in a shrewd mining engineer, an expert who, unlike the Darbys, was intimately familiar with the intricate geological patterns of fault lines. The engineer, after careful calculation and meticulous inspection, delivered a startling revelation. The project had failed not because the gold was gone, but because the original owners were simply unfamiliar with the geological disruptions of fault lines. His precise calculations showed with irrefutable certainty that the lost vein would be found just 3 short feet from where the Darbys had, in their despair, ceased drilling. And that, my friend, is exactly where it was found. The junk man, armed with expert knowledge and a keen understanding of persistence, extracted millions of dollars in glistening ore from that very mine. He possessed the success consciousness to see far beyond a temporary defeat, to view it not as an end, but as a solvable puzzle. Are you? Darby, in his later life, often recounted this agonizing experience, telling me that it was the most valuable lesson he ever learned. That single painful setback taught him, irrevocably, never to surrender, never to quit. He applied that profound lesson to his subsequent career, becoming one of the most successful insurance salesmen in the entire nation, more than recovering his lost fortune, not through gold, but through sheer, unwavering persistence. The monumental difference, then, is this. The person who fails is stopped cold by defeat. The person of success is educated, refined, and propelled forward by it. They possess the unique ability to transform their stumbling blocks into stepping stones, their failures into invaluable lessons. This leads us directly to the fourth insidious demon, the treacherous offspring of doubt and fear, the demon of procrastination. This is the demon of tomorrow. It is the insidious art of perpetually keeping pace with yesterday. The mind dominated by failure. Consciousness is an endless, tireless factory of excuses. It is always, always waiting for the elusive right time. It whispers, I will finally begin my grand goal as soon as I acquire more money, or as soon as the children are grown and settled, or as soon as I feel more confident, more ready. These, my friend, are all cunning lies, born of the suffocating grip of indecision, and indecision, make no mistake, is the fragile child of paralyzing fear. The individual who is unable to arrive at a definite, unwavering decision and stand firmly by it is, by definition, condemned to a life of eternal drift. They are swayed effortlessly by the fleeting opinions of every person they encounter. Their plans, if they possess any semblance of a plan at all, are as fragile and ephemeral as a spider's delicate web, torn asunder by the very first breath of criticism. Their life, my friend, becomes a poignant and frustrating story of almosts and some days a symphony of unfulfilled potential. Now observe, if you will, the person of success. They have diligently cultivated the powerful habit of reaching decisions with remarkable promptness. And once a decision has been made, with the wisdom of gathered facts and careful deliberation, they possess the equally vital habit of changing it slowly, if indeed they ever change it at all. This does not by any means imply that they are stubborn or close-minded. On the contrary, before making a major decision, they meticulously gather all relevant facts and seek the wise counsel of their mastermind alliance, leveraging the collective intelligence of trusted advisors. But once the decision is firmly made, based on the best available information, they advance with an absolute, unyielding resolution. They understand with profound certainty that a plan, even one that is imperfect in its initial conception, but put into vigorous, immediate action, is infinitely, immeasurably better than a perfectly conceived plan that remains nothing more than a theoretical blueprint gathering dust in the realm of mere possibility. The successful individual knows, deeply and instinctively, that plans are meant to be tested, to be challenged, to perhaps even fail temporarily, only to be refined and improved. They forge an initial plan to the very best of their ability, and they begin to act upon it without hesitation immediately. They understand the profound truth that you must begin where you stand, with whatever tools you currently command, and they possess the unshakable faith that superior tools, more effective strategies, and invaluable allies will inevitably be discovered and attracted as they courageously move forward. This audacious willingness to act in the very face of uncertainty, To step into the unknown with unwavering resolve is a defining hallmark of the mind imbued with success consciousness. The person destined for failure passively waits for the path ahead to be completely clear, perfectly illuminated, and absolutely safe. The person of success, by contrast, knows that the path is cleared, step by courageous step, by the very act of walking upon it. They create their first plan, and they decide firmly and irrevocably to follow it. This single definitive act of making a firm decision acts like a sharp guillotine, severing them from the 1,001 doubts, fears, and hesitations that perpetually paralyze the indecisive. This profound act of making a definite decision unleashes an immense, almost unimaginable personal power. It aligns all your inner forces, your thoughts, your emotions, your will in a single unstoppable direction. The fourth great difference, then, is this. The person who fails is a slave to the tyranny of indecision. The person of success is the absolute master of it. So I ask you now, my friend, what crucial decision have you been postponing, procrastinating upon? What decisive action do you know, deep within your soul, that you must take, but have been delaying out of fear or uncertainty? Take it now. The quality of your life, your ultimate destiny, will reduce itself quite simply to the quality of your decisions. Flowing directly from this mastery of decision, we encounter the fifth, and perhaps most readily observable, difference between these two distinct types of individuals: the profound quality of persistence. All the grand purpose, the unshakable faith, and the meticulously crafted plans in the world are, my friend, utterly worthless, utterly without power, without the iron-willed, unyielding determination to see them through to their magnificent completion. Persistence, in its purest essence, is nothing more and nothing less than willpower in vigorous, sustained action. And it is this singular quality that, more than any other, with absolute certainty, guarantees the ultimate realization of your grandest goals. The vast, overwhelming majority of people are, alas, quitters. They begin an undertaking with a burst of enthusiastic energy, a fiery zeal that promises greatness. But at the very first sign of opposition, at the slightest whisper of misfortune, at the initial brush with an unforeseen obstacle, their initial resolve, once so vibrant, melts away like snow under the relentless summer Sunday. Their desire, you see, was never truly strong enough, never fervent enough to withstand the inevitable friction of reality. The person destined for failure possesses a tragically low quitting point. A few minor setbacks, a casual criticism from a bystander, a brief period of intense, unrewarded hard work, and they tense quote, unquote, ten quote, end quote. With a sigh of relief, unceremoniously throw their aims, their purposes, and their grandest dreams overboard, succumbing to the path of least resistance. Now, pause and consider the person of success. Their desire for their ultimate goal is not merely a preference. It is a raging inferno, a burning, all-consuming obsession. It is not an option. It is an absolute necessity, a fundamental requirement for their very existence. This white-hot, incandescent desire is the inexhaustible fuel for their unyielding persistence. When life, in its inevitable cruelty, knocks them down, they do not remain on the ground. They rise again, not out of mere stubbornness, but because the very thought of living a life without their cherished dream, of existing without its magnificent realization, is infinitely, immeasurably more painful, more unbearable than any temporary defeat, any fleeting pain, any minor humiliation they might endure. Persistence, my friend, has a mysterious and almost magical way of bending the very fabric of the universe to its indomitable will. It sends an unwavering, powerful signal to your subconscious mind, a clear and resonant message that you will not be denied, that you will not be stopped. In response, your subconscious mind, that tireless servant, unlocks deeper, previously untapped reservoirs of creativity, resilience, and latent power that you never even knew you possessed. It also broadcasts a powerful, undeniable signal to other people. The world, you see, has an uncanny way of stepping aside, of clearing the path for the person who knows precisely where they are going and who demonstrates through their relentless and unwavering actions that they absolutely will not be stopped. Opportunities that were once veiled in obscurity, allies who were once strangers, are mysteriously drawn to the person who, through their sheer persistence, refuses to quit. The universe itself, in its profound wisdom, seems to enjoy the ultimate challenge of testing a person's absolute resolve. And when it encounters a will that simply will not bend, it often rewards that unyielding spirit by removing the very obstacles from its chosen path. Most of the truly great victories in life are won, my friend, by a razor's edge. They are claimed by the individual who held on for just 1 minute longer, who attempted just one more time, one more experiment, one more sales call, after everyone else, exhausted and disheartened, had already gone home. The demon of surrender, the insidious spirit of giving up, is a cunning expert in timing. It invariably attacks when you are most weary, when you are most disheartened, when success appears to be further away than it has ever been before. It understands with chilling precision that victory, true and magnificent victory, often lies precisely and excruciatingmente just beyond the point where the vast majority of people choose to surrender. Your most potent weapon against this insidious demon is simple, yet profoundly powerful. Make an unwavering decision here and now, a sacred vow to yourself that you will never surrender. This leads us to a sixth, more subtle but equally critical distinction, the very nature of their chosen associations. The mind operating under the shadow of failure consciousness, often driven by a corrosive sense of envy, a gnawing insecurity, or a crippling lack of self-worth, possesses a tragic tendency to surround itself with people who are themselves cynical, negative, or mired in mediocrity. They discover a perverse, self-defeating comfort in the company of others who will readily validate their own carefully constructed excuses and eagerly join them in a chorus of complaints about the perceived unfairness of the world, about the cruel hand of fate. In such an environment, any nascent spark of ambition, any flickering flame of aspiration, is swiftly and brutally extinguished by the wet, suffocating blanket of collective mediocrity. You cannot, my friend, breathe the stale, polluted air of failure and simultaneously expect to live a vibrant, thriving life of success. This is an immutable law. As certain as the rising Sunday, the person of success, conversely, understands this profound, almost spiritual law. They choose, consciously and with unwavering deliberation, their environment. They guard the sacred space of their mind as fiercely and as vigilantly as a king guards his most precious throne, and they understand with absolute clarity that their closest associates, the very people they permit into their inner circle, are the primary gatekeepers of that kingdom. They do not merely associate with others. They form a powerful symbiotic master-mind alliance. They meticulously surround themselves with individuals who are profoundly positive, whose thoughts and energies are in absolute harmony with their own grand purpose, and who possess the courage and wisdom to challenge them, to push them beyond their perceived limits, to inspire them to grow exponentially. This choice, my friend, is not accidental. It is profoundly strategic. A powerful mastermind alliance does far more than simply offer kind words of encouragement or a convenient sounding board. It creates an entirely new psychic and spiritual environment, a fertile ground for the birth of monumental ideas. The harmonious, purposeful blending of several minds when united by a common objective creates an intangible, invisible energy, a third mind that is far greater, far more potent than the mere sum of its individual parts. In the very presence of your mastermind, your own nascent faith is miraculously strengthened, your creative faculties are stimulated with unparalleled vigor, and your innate courage is magnified beyond measure. You are, in essence, borrowing the collective strength, the accumulated experience, and the unyielding belief of your cherished allies, and in return, they are drawing upon yours. If you choose to associate, day in and day out, with people who are drifting aimlessly, without purpose, without ambition, you too will inevitably begin to drift, losing your direction, succumbing to the currents of mediocrity. But if you make the deliberate, conscious choice to associate with people who are moving forward with a clear purpose and an irresistible power, you will, by the undeniable force of attraction, be pulled along in their dynamic, unstoppable current. The sixth great difference, then, is this. The person who fails is poisoned by the toxic influences of their chosen environment. The person of success is powerfully empowered, uplifted, and propelled forward by it. So I ask you now, who are the 5 people with whom you spend the most significant portion of your precious time? Are they, through their words and their actions, consistently elevating you toward your magnificent goals, or are they, subtly but surely, dragging you downward, anchoring you to the shores of limitation and doubt? Be a ruthless guardian of your inner circle. Relentlessly eliminate the demons of negativity. Seek out with fervent desire those rare souls who will fan the flames of your ambition, not those who will, with cynical whispers, extinguish them. Finally, my friend, we arrive at the culmination of all these diligently cultivated habits, the ultimate and most profound difference between these two distinct souls. The person trapped within a failure consciousness lives a life that is, to a large extent, purely physical and tragically reactive. Their limited world is meticulously defined by what their 5 physical senses can perceive: the meager balance in their bank account, the overwhelming weight of their current problems, the fleeting opinions of others, the immediate, tangible reality. The person imbued with a success consciousness, however, having diligently mastered all these preceding principles, having conquered the demons of doubt, fear, indecision, and drift, begins to operate consciously and consistently on a dramatically higher plane. They develop a keen, almost uncanny, and profoundly reliable faculty of intuition, what I have long referred to as the formidable sixth sense. Having meticulously cleared the precious space of their mind from the oppressive static of fear, and having focused it with laser-like precision on a single grand, all-consuming purpose, their mind transforms into a highly receptive instrument, a finely tuned receiver for the vast, boundless storehouse of infinite intelligence. They begin with increasing frequency and startling accuracy to receive hunches, sudden, illuminating flashes of insight, and profoundly creative ideas that guide them with an unerring precision, leading them directly towards their cherished goal. They appear, to the outside observer, to know things without consciously knowing how they acquired that knowledge. They possess the unique ability to intuitively sense an extraordinary opportunity long before it becomes overtly obvious to the struggling crowd. They can, with uncanny foresight, perceive a looming danger and gracefully sidestep it, avoiding the pitfalls that ensnare others. This, my friend, is not mere superstition, nor is it some mystical, unexplained phenomenon. It is rather the natural, inevitable outcome of a human mind that has been meticulously brought into perfect harmony with the powerful creative forces of the universe itself. The person destined for failure remains tragically deaf to this potent inner voice, for the radio of their mind is perpetually filled with the deafening static of fear, the paralyzing whispers of doubt, and the corrosive din of negativity. The person of success, by contrast, has so meticulously quieted their inner world, has so precisely focused their mental antenna, that they can clearly and distinctly hear these subtle, yet profoundly powerful, transmissions from the boundless realm of infinite intelligence. This, my friend, is their ultimate unrivaled competitive advantage. It is the invisible guide, the silent navigator, that unerringly leads them from one magnificent success to another in a way that often seems miraculous or even magical to the uninitiated outside observer. So there you have it, my friend. The great, often perceived chasm between monumental success and frustrating failure is not, as many falsely believe, a matter of random luck or an accident of birth or a consequence of external circumstance. It is, at its very core, a profound matter of conscious, deliberate, and unwavering choice. It is the courageous choice to possess a definite, singular purpose instead of drifting aimlessly through the currents of life. It is the profound choice to diligently build unshakable faith instead of harboring the corrosive acid of doubt. It is the liberating choice to perceive temporary defeat not as a crushing verdict, but as an invaluable lesson, a mere detour on the road to triumph. It is the empowering choice to make firm, swift decisions instead of succumbing to the paralyzing grip of procrastination. It is the heroic choice to persist relentlessly in the face of all opposition, all adversity, all setbacks, instead of meekly surrendering. It is the wise choice to meticulously surround yourself with masters, with inspirers, with those who elevate instead of poisoning your mind with the mediocrity of cynics. And it is ultimately the supreme choice to diligently tune the receiving station of your mind to the boundless frequency of infinite intelligence, rather than allowing it to be drowned out by the deafening static of fear and despair. These, my friend, are not merely suggestions, pleasant platitudes, or abstract theories. They are the immutable, unfailing laws of monumental achievement, laws that govern the universe with the same precision as the law of gravity. The choice to consciously adopt them, to courageously integrate them into the very fabric of your being, or tragically, to ignore them and continue your current path, is yours and yours alone. But I implore you, with all the earnestness of a man who has witnessed these truths transform countless lives, begin this journey today. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Pick up that pen. Define your purpose with absolute clarity. Make your first firm, unwavering decision. And take that first magnificent step, however small it may appear in this moment, on the glorious path toward the magnificent destiny that is and has always been your inherent birthright. Change your habits of thought, and you will, by the undeniable power of a law that never ever fails, irrevocably change your entire life. Your own inspiring success story, my friend, is waiting to be written. The pen is firmly in your hand. The first blank page is before you now. What magnificent chapter will you begin to write?